This morning, the TSA is investigating claims of racial profiling at Boston's Logan Airport. The New York Times reports that 32 TSA officers in Boston have come forward to say Hispanics, blacks, and people of Middle Eastern origin are being targeted because of their appearance.
The charges focus on a program called Expanded Behavior Detection, and senior correspondent John Miller, a former deputy director of national intelligence, is with us. Great to have you with us, as always, John. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
So what is the program all about?
So what this does is it borrows a page from what the Israelis have been doing for many years, which is it observes passengers walking around the terminal for suspicious behavior. And then it has a new layer, which is, and this is what the Israelis have really kind of hung their hat on, is it involves an interview where they actually talk to the passengers in the line before they go through security. And it's a few short questions, very casual, but then they watch the behavior of the passenger giving the answers.
So that's a concern because it involves the human element, and the human element is inherently or potentially subjective.
It does. I mean, it doesn't involve the human element in doing the interview because they talk to 100% of the passengers in the line, but who they select for additional screening or referral to a law enforcement officer for more questioning is what's at the controversy here. And the TSA says they don't take this casually. They have a scoring sheet where they actually make the assessors actually kind of go through, well, were they suspicious this way or that way? I mean, they have to kind of add it up. And when we ask, well, how many blacks do you stop versus how many Hispanics versus how many Muslims versus, they said, well, we don't ask them any of that because that's not what it's supposed to be about. So we can't give you the numbers. What we ask the inspectors to do is to say, can you articulate what the suspicious behavior was, not what the person looked like?
Isn't there inherently, though, some kind of profiling in making a decision to pick somebody out to interview?
Well, there is, but there's a lot of training that goes into this that tells them you're supposed to focus on the behavior, focus on the answers, focus on somebody who either is exhibiting fears of being caught at something or, I mean, a good example of this is Richard Reed, the shoe bomber, who was supposed to be the follow-up attack to 9/11, tried to board an Israeli El Al jet and failed in the interview process with his answers. And they said, you know what, you're not boarding this plane. He was able to board an American carrier where they don't do an interview like that because all he had to do was get his very well-concealed bomb through security. So what the administrator of TSA, John Pistol, former deputy director of the FBI, and in the name of full disclosure, my ex-boss, when he took over TSA, the idea was, how do we get a more layered approach that is less focused on finding a nail clipper in the bottom of somebody's bag and more focused on where is the suspicious behavior, who's potentially a high-risk passenger?
John Miller, thank you.
Thanks for having me.